Good afternoon, board. I am Deputy C. Tate, and I have here with us today, Mr. Edwards.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Edwards, if you would please introduce yourself and give us your DOC number.
My name is Mr. Tre Edwards, 616143.
Thank you very much. Mr. Edwards, I want to talk with you a little bit about our procedure. This is a revocation hearing. I'm going to cover your parole revocation questionnaire with you. Then I'm going to read the allegations of how it's alleged that you have violated your parole, allow you to plead either guilty, not guilty, guilty with a statement, or not guilty with a statement. And then we'll have a full discussion about the allegations. You have several people here today in support of you. You have your attorney, Ms. Addie McGuire, also Mr. Brian Lars, who is a social worker, and Yolanda Edwards, your mother, who will be speaking as well. Do you understand our procedure?
Yes, sir.
Do you have that questionnaire before you, sir?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature at the bottom?
Yes, sir.
All of those answers are accurate and correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're represented by an attorney, and your attorney is present today?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Edwards, you've answered that you have been treated within the last 5 years for either a mental health disorder or you're taking medication. Could you explain a little bit your answer? Have you been treated within the last 5 years for a mental health disorder?
Yes, sir.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Last year, in the beginning of May, no, the beginning of July, I had checked myself into a mental institution in the New Orleans district, uptown on General Taylor.
Okay. And were you given a diagnosis, or do you know what your diagnosis was? Was there any results?
Bipolar schizophrenic. Bipolar schizophrenic.
Okay. And are you currently taking medication?
Yes, sir.
What are you taking?
I was taking Adderall and Xanax.
Okay. You say you were taking. Are you currently taking that?
Now while I'm incarcerated, no.
You're not taking any medication? They don't have you on any of your medications?
The only medication they got me on is my nerve pill and my seizure medicine.
Okay. And how often were you taking the medication before you got incarcerated?
3 times a day, morning, evening, and night.
And how long had you been taking that medication?
I've been taking Adderall since I was in elementary.
Do you know why they took you off of it, or is it just because you're incarcerated?
Just because I'm incarcerated.
I'm going to read you now the allegations. Rule violation number 3, you left the state of Louisiana without permission as evidenced by your arrest by Harrison County, Mississippi Sheriff's Office on or about February the 26th of 2022. Ms. McGuire, do you wish to speak to him before, or do you wish to talk with him about his plea?
No, sir. We met yesterday to discuss this.
Okay. How would you plead to that, Mr. Edwards?
I plead guilty, sir.
Okay. Number 4, you engaged in criminal activity when you committed the offense of aggravated assault with a firearm on or about June 29th of 2021, as evidenced by a warrant being issued for your arrest by New Orleans Police Department. The charges were refused on or about April the 6th of 2022. The issue would be you engaged in criminal activity. How do you plead to that?
Not guilty, sir.
You had a firearm in your possession as evidenced by New Orleans Police Department issuing a warrant for your arrest for aggravated assault with a firearm. How do you plead to that, sir?
Not guilty, sir.
And finally, as of this date, you are $1,197 in arrears towards your supervision fees. How do you plead to that?
I plead guilty, sir.
Thank you very much. Mr. Edwards, your case was assigned to me, so I'm going to begin our interview process, okay?
Yes.
Tell me, you pled guilty to number 3, saying that you left the state of Louisiana without permission, were arrested on February 26, 2022. Tell me about that. Why did you leave the jurisdiction of Louisiana?
I left New Orleans because February 25th was my birthday. I was going to pick my brother up and come right back to New Orleans. But me not knowing it was going to be how it happened, I should have just called my parole officer, let her know where I was at least gave her, a voicemail, because it was late at night. So I should have just gave her a voicemail and left her a text message at least.
Had you ever left the jury? How long were you out on parole?
To 2024.
No. How long were you out before you got arrested?
A year.
Now, prior to your being arrested, had you ever left the jurisdiction to go somewhere, Mississippi or other places?
No, sir.
You knew you should have contacted her, but you just didn't.
Right.
Tell me how you were arrested. Why were you stopped?
So Mississippi and Gulfport, their gas stations closed early. So me and my girlfriend had to use the bathroom. So we pulled over to use the bathroom. And I guess somebody called and said that we looked suspicious. And that's when the police pulled up.
So they came up, checked your license, and checked you out and found out you had a warrant for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the activity of June the 29th of 2021. You got arrested for something, or at least there was a warrant issued for your arrest. Do you remember that day?
A little bit of it, yes, sir.
Tell me what you remember about that particular day back in June. Was there an issue back in June 29th of 2021 involving you?
It was just a family dispute that kicked off.
Okay, tell me about it. Who was the family dispute with? Where was it?
At my grandmother's house.
Okay, and who was the dispute with?
It was me and my mother, actually.
And what happened?
And we were just fussing over minor stuff, far as money we was fussing over. But it had got situated. It had got handled.
Well, tell me what got situated. What do you mean by that? Explain to me.
It was dealing with some money that wasn't gave to me. So it went to another person, and that person had to send it to me. And that's how that went about. So yeah, it had got handled. But how it escalated, I don't know how it escalated after that.
Who reported it to the police? Do you know?
No, sir. I was off the scene.
Did you have a gun?
No, sir.
What did you have? What was it that
I had a cell phone in my hand.
Okay, well, who was it that said you had a gun?
I don't know. I guess the person who called the police on me.
Okay, and who was that? You don't know who that was?
My aunt.
Who is your aunt? What's her name?
Demetrius Jones.
Okay, she's the person who said she saw a gun in your hand, but later it turns out maybe it was a cell phone instead of a gun. So what did you have? Let's talk about that.
I had a phone in my hand, actually, to see if she had sent the money through Cash App.
Now, were y'all arguing?
A little bit. A little family argue, how families argue, but that was about it.
And you've got a pretty significant history of guns and things like that. Is that right?
In my past, yes, sir.
Well, I understand. So I can understand perhaps how she might think you had a gun if y'all were arguing. Is that fair to say?
Yes, I believe so, yes.
So what did you do when you left?
I went to my daughter's mother grandma's house.
Okay. And then what?
And I sat there and talked to her so I could cool myself off. And that's
So you
when
were angry, upset?
I was a little upset about the money situation, but it had sent to me later on that day.
After that would have been in June of 2021. How often, when was the next time you spoke with your parole officer?
I speak to my parole officer every month.
So you were communicating with your parole officer from June the 29th of 2021 until you actually got picked up in Mississippi. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Where were you living during this time?
I was living in Charnel Creek Apartments off of Bullet until my apartments caught on fire and I had to move back.
Let's slow down. Let's talk about June 29th of 2021. Where did you live at that time?
I was staying with my parents.
Okay. And how long were you staying with your parents? When did you move from your parents' house?
I moved from their house in November.
November of 2021? Where'd you move to?
I moved on Bullet in the apartment Charnel Creek.
Now, was your parole officer aware that you were living with your parents from June to November?
Yes, sir.
When you moved to Bullet, did your parole officer know that you lived there?
Yes, sir. I gave her the address.
To your knowledge, did anybody ever try to come and serve a warrant on you or anything like that?
No, sir.
When was the first time you found out there was a warrant for your arrest?
When I got pulled over in Gulfport.
By the police?
Yes, sir.
So how long have you been in prison now? How long have you been in jail on these charges?
Since February 26th, going on 5 months.
When you were out for the year, you said you were out a year, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Were you working? What were you doing?
I was getting my kids back and forth to school. I was bringing my mother back and forth to therapy at Oxnard in NASA and Michigan, and I was bringing my girlfriend to work. And after I bring her to work, I'm back to picking my kids up from school.
How many children do you have?
2.
And who's the mother of those children?
Chandrika Condal is the mother of Tre Edwards, and Raven Spears is the mother of Rain Spears.
What kind of relationship do you have with the mother of your oldest child?
We got an understanding.
Why do you think your aunt, is it your aunt? Why do you think your aunt said you had a gun?
Because of my past history.
Did you threaten her in any way?
No, sir.
What might you do differently today if you had the opportunity to do something different that day?
Be the bigger person and just step back and just take the consequences of my situation and just walk away.
Were you drinking or doing any kind of drugs then?
No drugs, sir.
Were you drinking that day?
No, sir. I don't drink.
Were you taking your medication as prescribed that day?
Honestly, no, sir.
Why not?
Sometimes I just forget to take them. Like my Adderall, sometimes I forget to take because of my pain pills and the side effects of both of them taken together.
You think that might have had something to do with perhaps the way you were acting and the way she perceived you?
Maybe so.
Now, are you confined to a wheelchair? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Tell me why. Tell me what your condition is.
September 2nd of 2015, I saved a 3-year-old from getting shot uptown in the Crescent City of New Orleans.
And you were shot in that, or what?
Yes, sir. I had saved the 3-year-old from getting shot, so the 3-year-old didn't get shot because I jumped in front of her.
And what is your current condition and your current prognosis? What are you? Can you walk?
A little bit on a walker, but not as far as not on my own, no.
Do you anticipate being able to walk again, or is this a permanent condition?
I do therapy or sometimes in-house therapy on my own. I go to auction on veterans and do therapy or do it on my own sometimes.
In the year that you were out, other than this one issue where you had the arrest warrant that was ultimately dismissed, have you had any other arrests or any other violations of your parole?
No, sir.
Tested positive for drugs of any kind?
No, sir.
Have you ever taken drugs, done drugs?
Only I admit of is marijuana. That's it, sir.
How long ago was that?
In 2020.
Where would you live if you were to get out of jail today?
Back with my parents until I get stable.
Do you have? Can you work? Is that in your future? Do you anticipate getting a job of some sort?
My dad, he owned a detailing company, so once I get my license, I could start running his company. That way, he could pass it down to me.
Any questions? Okay, Mr. Freeman has a question.
Do you receive disability for your injury?
Yes, sir.
How much a month do you receive?
$600 a month.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Now, in the information that we got, it is alleged that you said, I want my $20 or I'm going to shoot this beat up. Do you remember saying that on that day?
No, ma'am.
Anything near that? Anything somebody could have thought you said that?
No, ma'am.
What did you say?
And I was just angry, but if shooting my grandma's house up is out of the question.
Mhm.
That's out of the question. That's my grandmother's house. That's my auntie. Like, I'm not that type of person.
So are you saying that even if that's written in the report, somebody heard you say that, saying that that's false information, you did not say that, or nothing even close to that?
No, ma'am.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Let's hear from your supporters, Mr. Brian Lars.
Hi, my name is Brian Larson. I'm a social worker with the Orleans Public Defender's Office. I just want to say that I completed an assessment on Mr. Edwards and considered his past, and we feel confident that we could provide the necessary support and case management to negate any future negative occurrences. Some of the mitigating steps that I've taken, and I think you have a reentry plan from me, but I'm gonna just hit on just the gist of my reentry plan. First and foremost, I'll be connecting Mr. Edwards with mental health services through Metropolitan Human Services to address any underlying issues so he can maintain a baseline level of functioning and medication compliance. Secondly, our office will coordinate with probation and parole to maximize support if any crisis may occur. Also, he'll have daily access to the Orleans Public Defender's Office staff here to navigate or to help make any decisions that he's having problems with. And lastly, I think that Mr. Edwards will benefit from working directly with me. I'll be proactively case managing his case. The work that I do will be complemented by other social workers, client advocates, and attorneys. So it is in our opinion that, we would hope that the board will vote in favor of not revoking Mr. Edwards' parole, because we think that we can provide the necessary support and he deserves it. Trey is a good person. I think that he deserves another shot. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lawrence. Londa Edwards?
Yes, sir. Yolanda Edwards.
Yes, is she, Miss Yolanda Edwards, are you on? Oh, she doesn't want to speak. Okay.
Oh, sir, I believe she does want to speak, but it might be, it appears to be connecting to audio. Let me reach out to her to see if she's having technical difficulties. Ms. Edwards has let me know that she can hear us and is trying to speak, but for some reason it's not showing up. Thank you, though, all for your patience.
Can you have her relay her statement to you, please, so we can move on? We've got a really long docket today. Could she maybe tell you what she wanted to say?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'm happy to, I've spoken with her numerous times, including today, and I'm happy to relay what we've spoken about, as well as sort of my own impressions, if that would be all right with the board.
Oh, yeah, yes, that's fine.
So I think what y'all have seen from Mr. Edwards today is the exact same thing that I have seen with him throughout our 5 months of representation, which is a man who's very connected with his family, very connected with his 2 children, really eager to get out again, and a man who also recognizes the mistakes that he's made, recognizes that he shouldn't have left the state without contacting his parole officer, and recognizes the situations that he got himself into that led here today. So we spoke yesterday about the situation with his aunt, and Mr. Edwards communicated to me, like, in the future, if tensions arise, it's my responsibility to take a step back. And that's something that I've seen throughout the course of my representation with him. I've met with Tre at least once a week or every 2 weeks, and that's something he's never strayed away from, taking responsibility for his actions. And so I think that, combined with the release plan that Mr. Lars has set up for Tre to enable him to get a job, to be able to pay those fines and fees, to avoid those sorts of situations that led us here today, would, if y'all see fit to exercise your mercy today, would allow Mr. Edwards to be successful. What I can tell you, as far as what I believe that Ms. Edwards would say, is that Tre has very, very strong family support. I speak to Ms. Edwards several times a week. She's prepared to help support Tre if y'all see fit to not revoke him today. He has a place to stay with Mr. Lars. He's interested in working again to help make headway on those fines and fees. And I think the number one thing that I have sort of gathered from representing Tre is just how important his kids are to him. He lights up when speaking about his kids in a way that is remarkable. And so I would just ask that y'all exercise your mercy and give him another chance with the resources that we've connected him with to do better and to make better choices.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anything you'd like to say, Mr. Edwards, before we vote?
I would just want to say I take full responsibility for my wrongdoings.
Thank you. Mr. Edwards, how much time are you backing up?
Till 2024.
I'm not sure exactly what happened, Mr. Edwards, on the day this happened. I don't know whether you had a gun or you didn't have a gun. I don't know if it was a cell phone or not a cell phone. I'm not sure what you said, but you concede. I think everybody believed that it got overheated. It was a bad situation. You made some bad decisions. The district attorney has chosen not to prosecute this case, and I understand why. The victim didn't want to pursue it. A lot of reasons why they might not prosecute it. That doesn't necessarily mean you didn't do what they said you did. But it sounds like you've got a fairly good plan moving forward. I think that you need some things. I'm willing to give you an opportunity. I think I would like to see you take a DBOP program, a domestic violence program, because I see things happening between you and the mother of your son that may escalate into something that you would have some training and some understanding on how to stay away from that. I'd also like to see you take some sort of an effective decision-making class or program that will help you make better decisions in what you're doing. So my vote would be today not to revoke you, to allow the public defender's office to put in place the plan that they have with the additional request or conditions, that you take a domestic violence program as well as some sort of an effective decision-making class. We call it Thinking for a Change here in the department, with something similar to that. That would be my vote. I'm only one vote. Ms. Wise?
Trey, I do want you to recognize that words have power. And some of the things that you say, the way that you say them, the time that you say them, that escalates situations. And you've said it and you don't even remember what you said.
Ma'am.
And those words are still impacting the person you said it to. I just want to put that out there. I'm gonna take a chance on you. And I do feel like I'm taking a chance on you. I'm going to concur with my colleagues and do not revoke, in order that you cooperate with the Orleans Public Defender's plan that was presented here today by Mr. Brian Locke, and that you undertake the other programs. And and that is my vote, sir. And I would like to report weekly to probation parole for at least the next 6 weeks, so that you can make sure you confirm with your officer and the case manager, social worker, they're on the same page, you're doing what you need to be doing.
Yes.
Best wishes to you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Wise. Mr. Freeman?
I vote to reprimand you. I do not revoke you on conditions number 3 and 10. I also would like to add a condition that your parole fees be waived until you gain full-time employment. I know you're in a bind with 2 kids and also trying to pay your other stuff on $600 a month. I mean, and I don't want you to do something drastic to try to get money. So, and all the other conditions that my colleague recommend.
Thank you very much. Do you understand your conditions?
Yes, sir. And I thank y'all very much.
All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm not sure how you feel about the results of the hearing, but you might say good intentions do not go well for the parole board in this scenario. Just a month and a half after his hearing, he and his father were gunned down in broad daylight in front of their house while they were working on a car together. We'll jump into that right now.
Good evening, I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Lauren McCoy. The shooting in New Orleans East took the lives of 2 adult men in the middle of the day.
As David Jones reports, one city councilman is outraged. He says the city needs to get a grip on crime, and it starts with stopping retaliation.
My kids are babysat in this block, in this area sometimes. That's crazy.
The latest brazen shooting in New Orleans hits home for Councilman Oliver Thomas.
There is an element out here that's armed with criminal intent and with murder on their mind. This is a sick time. We need some healing.
In Little Woods, just before 3 o'clock in the afternoon, a double murder on the 7,000 block of Yorktown. Neighbors tell Fox 8 a car pulled up. Multiple men got out and gunned down 2 men working on this red Ford SUV. One of the victims in his mid-20s, the other in his late 50s. Neighbors say the 2 were father and son, although NOPD has not identified them.
All is not well in New Orleans right now.
It's still not quiet in Gotham.
Well, you heard him compare the Louisiana to Gotham, and that might not be an understatement. At that time, September, it said that the New Orleans had surpassed 205 homicides. It had surpassed the total number of homicides from the year before. They said they were seeking this man as a persons of interest. I don't see any other additional research on here. If Richard provided it, I can't find it. I don't know if they ever did solve this crime or not. But Louisiana must be doing something right, because it seems that the homicides have gone down. Year-to-date chart for 2023, and it shows cumulative murders by day as of December 27th. There have been 194. That's today. Huh. I luckily Googled something with an. Wait a minute. I don't know. I'm confused. But as of December 27th, which is the day I'm filming it, there have been 194 murders in New Orleans. That's 26% less than this time last year. And yeah, there were 205 in September for the year of this recording, which is 2022. So there we go. I don't know what they're doing right. Maybe, who knows? But this felt tragic. It really did. Here's a man who's, take his word for it that he saved a child. I'll take his word for it. Ends up in a wheelchair. It seems that it was pretty clear he had a weapon. They still let him out. It's the middle of the day. He's working on a car with his dad, and then they both lose their lives. And to think that if they actually would have revoked him, that maybe things would have cooled off and they wouldn't have had that, I guess, retaliation attack. Who knows? But it is tragic all around, I think. And thank you, Richard, for the info. And life is precious. Remember that. It can be taken at any second. And with that,